Tulsa, TLSE, is the second largest city in the state of Oklahoma and 47th most populous city in the United States. As of July 2014, the population was 399,682, an increase of 7,776 over that reported in the 2010 census. It is the principal municipality of the Tulsa metropolitan area, a region with 961,561 residents in the MSA and 1,131,458 in the CSA. The city serves as the county seat of Tulsa County, the most densely populated county in Oklahoma, with urban development extending into Osage, Rogers, and Wagoner counties. Tulsa was settled between 1828 and 1836 by the Locapoca Band of Creek Native American tribe. For most of the 20th century, the city held the nickname "Oil Capital of the World," and played a major role as one of the most important hubs for the American oil industry. Once heavily dependent on the oil industry, economic downturn and subsequent diversification efforts created an economic base in the energy, finance, aviation, telecommunications and technology sectors. The Tulsa port of Catoosa, at the head of the McClellan-Arkansas River navigation system, is the most inland river port in the U.S., with access to international waterways. Two institutions of higher education within the city have sports teams at the NCAA Division I level: Oral Roberts University and the University of Tulsa. It is situated on the Arkansas River at the foothills of the Ozark Mountains in northeast Oklahoma, a region of the state known as Green Country. Considered the cultural and arts center of Oklahoma, Tulsa houses two world-renowned art museums, full-time professional opera and ballet companies, and one of the nation's largest concentrations of Art Deco architecture. The city has been called one of America's most livable large cities by Partners for Livable Communities, Forbes, and Relocate America. FDI magazine in 2009 ranked the city No. 8 in the U.S. for cities of the future. In 2012, Tulsa was ranked among the top 50 best cities in the United States by Businessweek. People from Tulsa are called Tulsans. History. What was ultimately to become Tulsa was originally part of Indian Territory and was first settled by the Locapoca and Creek tribes in 1836. They established a home under the Creek Council oak tree at the present-day intersection of Cheyenne Avenue and 18th Street, and named their new settlement Tallahassee, meaning Old Town in the Creek language, which later became Tulsa. On January 18, 1898, Tulsa was officially incorporated and elected its first mayor, Edward Calkins. Tulsa was a small town near the banks of the Arkansas River in 1901 when its first oil well, named Sue Bland No. 1, was established. By 1905, the discovery of the large Glen Pool prompted a rush of entrepreneurs to the area's growing number of oil fields. Tulsa's population swelled to over 140,000 between 1901 and 1930. By 1909, 7 years after the discovery of oil in the area, Tulsa's population had sprouted to 180,000. Much of the oil was discovered on land whose mineral rights were owned by members of the Osage Nation under a system of head rights. Known as the oil capital of the world for most of the 20th century, the city's success in the energy industry prompted construction booms in the popular Art Deco style of the time. Profits from the oil industry continued through the Great Depression, helping the city's economy fare better than most in the United States during the 1930s. In the early 20th century, Tulsa was home to the Black Wall Street, one of the most prosperous black communities in the United States at the time. Located in the Greenwood neighborhood, it was the site of the Tulsa Race Riot, one of the nation's worst acts of racial violence and civil disorder, with whites attacking blacks. 16 hours of rioting on May 31 and June 1, 1921, was only ended when National Guardsmen were brought in by the governor. An official report later claimed that 23 black and 16 white citizens were killed, but other estimates suggest as many as 300 people died, most of them black. Over 800 people were admitted to local hospitals with injuries, and an estimated 10,000 people were left homeless as 35 city blocks, composed of 1,256 residences, were destroyed by fire. Property damage was estimated at $1.8 million. Efforts to obtain reparations for survivors of the violence have been unsuccessful, but the city and state re-examined the events in the early 21st century, acknowledging the terrible actions that had taken place. In 1925, Tulsa businessman Cyrus Avery, known as the father of Route 66, began his campaign to create a road linking Chicago to California by establishing the U.S. Highway 66 Association in Tulsa, earning the city the nickname the birthplace of Route 66. Once completed, U.S. Route 66 took an important role in Tulsa's development as the city served as a popular rest stop for travelers, who were greeted by Route 66 icons such as the Meadow Gold sign and the Blue Whale of Catoosa. During this period, Bob Wills and his group, the Texas Playboys, began their long-performing stint at a small ballroom in downtown Tulsa. In 1935, Kane's Ballroom became the base for the group, which is largely credited for creating Western swing music. The venue continued to attract famous musicians through its history, and is still in operation today. For the remainder of the mid-20th century, the city had a master plan to construct parks, churches, museums, rose gardens, improved infrastructure, and increase national advertising. The Spavinaw Dam, built during this era to accommodate the city's water needs, was considered one of the largest public works projects of the era. In the 1950s, Time magazine dubbed Tulsa as America's most beautiful city. A national recession greatly affected the city's economy in 1982, as areas of Texas and Oklahoma heavily dependent on oil suffered the free-fall in gas prices due to a glut and a mass exodus of oil industries. Tulsa, heavily dependent on the oil industry, was one of the hardest hit cities by the fall of oil prices. By 1992, the state's economy had fully recovered, but leaders worked to expand into sectors unrelated to oil and energy. In 2003, the Vision 2025 program was approved by voters to enhance and revitalize Tulsa's infrastructure and tourism industry. The keystone project of the initiative, the Box Center, was designed to be a home for the city's minor league hockey and arena football teams, as well as a venue for major concerts and conventions. The multi-purpose arena, designed by famed architect Cesar Pelli, broke ground in 2005 and was opened on August 30, 2008. Geography. Tulsa is located in the northeastern corner of Oklahoma, 99 miles northeast of Oklahoma City, situated between the edge of the Great Plains and the foot of the Ozarks in a generally forested region of rolling hills. The city touches the eastern extent of the Cross Timbers, an ecoregion of forest and prairie transitioning from the drier plains of the west to the wetter forests of the east. With a wetter climate than points westward, Tulsa serves as a gateway to green country, a popular and official designation for northeast Oklahoma that stems from the region's green vegetation and relatively large number of hills and lakes compared to central and western areas of Oklahoma, which lie largely in the drier Great Plains region of the central United States. Located near the western edge of the U.S. interior highlands, northeastern Oklahoma is the most topographically diverse part of the state, containing 7 of Oklahoma's 11 ecoregions and more than half of its state parks. The region encompasses 30 lakes or reservoirs and borders the neighboring states of Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. The geographic coordinates of the city of Tulsa are 36 degrees 7 minutes 53 seconds north, 95 degrees 56 minutes 14 seconds west, 36.13139 degrees north, 95.93722 degrees west, 36.13139 minus 95.93722, with an elevation of 700 feet above sea level. Topography: the city developed on both sides of the prominent Arkansas River, which flows in a wide, sandy-bottomed channel. Its flow through the Tulsa area is controlled by upstream flood control reservoirs, but its width and depth can vary widely throughout the year, such as during periods of high rainfall or severe drought. A low-water dam maintains a full channel at all times in the area adjacent to downtown Tulsa. This portion of the river is known as Zinc Lake. Heavily wooded and with abundant parks and water areas, the city has several prominent hills, such as Shadow Mountain and Turkey Mountain, which create varied terrain, especially in its southern portions, while its central and northern sections are generally flat to gently undulating. The Osage Hills extension into the northwestern part of the city further varies the landscape. Holmes Peak, north of the city, is the tallest point in the Tulsa metro area at 1,360 feet according to the United States Census Bureau. The city has a total area of 186.8 square miles, of which 182.6 square miles of it is land and 4.2 square miles of it is water. Cityscape architecture: a building boom in the early 20th century gave Tulsa one of the largest concentrations of Art Deco architecture in the United States. Most commonly in the zigzag and streamline styles, the city's Art Deco is dotted throughout its older neighborhoods, primarily in downtown and midtown. A collection of large Art Deco structures such as the Mid-Continent Tower, the Boston Avenue Methodist Church, and the Full Tower have attracted events promoting preservation and architectural interest. In 2001, Tulsa served as the host city for the International Art Deco Congress, a semi-annual event designed to promote Art Deco architecture internationally. Building booms in the 1970s and 80s gave the city a larger base of contemporary architectural styles. The Bok Tower, built during this period, is the second tallest building in Oklahoma and the surrounding states of Missouri, New Mexico, Arkansas, and Kansas. Tulsa also has the third and fourth tallest buildings in the state, including the Cityplex Tower, which is located in South Tulsa across from Oral Roberts University, far from downtown. One of the area's unique architectural complexes, Oral Roberts University, is built in a postmodern futuristic style, incorporating bright gold structures with sharp, jetting edges and clear geometric shapes. The Bok Center, Tulsa's new arena, incorporates many of the city's most prominent themes, including Native American, Art Deco, and contemporary architectural styles. Intended to be an architectural icon, the building was designed by C. Acute Sar Pelly, the architect of the Petronas Towers in Malaysia. Neighborhoods: downtown Tulsa is an area of approximately 1.4 square miles surrounded by an inner dispersal loop created by Interstate 244, Highway 64, and Highway 75. The area serves as Tulsa's financial and business district, and is the focus of a large initiative to draw tourism, which includes plans to capitalize on the area's historic architecture. Much of Tulsa's convention space is located in downtown, such as the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, the Tulsa Convention Center, and the Bok Center. Prominent downtown subdistricts include the Blue Dome District, the Brady Arts District, the Oil Capital Historic District, the Greenwood Historical District, Owen Park Historical Neighborhood, and the site of ONEOK Field. A baseball stadium for the Tulsa Drillers opened in 2010. The city's historical residential core lies in an area known as Midtown, containing upscale neighborhoods built in the early 20th century with architecture ranging from Art Deco to Greek Revival. The University of Tulsa, the Swan Lake neighborhood, Philbrook Museum, and the upscale shopping districts of Utica Square, Cherry Street, and Brookside are located in this region. A large portion of the city's southern half has developed since the 1970s, containing low-density housing and retail developments. This region, marked by secluded homes and suburban neighborhoods, contains one of the state's largest shopping malls, Woodland Hills Mall, as well as Southern Hills Country Club, and Oral Roberts University. East of Highway 169 and north of 61st Street, a diverse racial makeup marks the eastern portions of the city, with large Asian and Mexican communities and much of the city's manufacturing industry. Areas of Tulsa west of the Arkansas River are called West Tulsa, and are marked by large parks, wilderness reserves, and large oil refineries. The northern tier of the city is home to OSU Tulsa, Gilcrease Museum, Tulsa International Airport, the Tulsa Zoo, the Tulsa Air and Space Museum, and the nation's third-largest municipal park, Mohawk Park. Walkability. A 2011 study by WalkScore ranked Tulsa 32nd most walkable of 50 largest U.S. cities. Climate. Tulsa has a temperate climate of the humid subtropical variety with a yearly average temperature of 60.8 degrees Fahrenheit and an average precipitation of 41.0 inches. As is typical of temperate zones, weather patterns vary by season with occasional extremes in temperature and rainfall. Primarily in the spring and early summer months, the city is subjected to severe thunderstorms containing large hail, damaging winds, and, occasionally, tornadoes, providing the area with a disproportionate share of its annual rainfall. Severe weather is not limited to this season, however. For instance, on December 5, 1975, and on December 24, 1982, Tulsa experienced tornadoes. Due to its potential for major flooding events, the city has developed one of the most extensive flood control systems in the nation. A comprehensive flood management plan was developed in 1984 following a severe flood caused by a stalled weather front that dropped 15 in of rain overnight, killing 14, injuring 288, and destroying 7,000 buildings, totaling $180 million in damage. In the early 1990s and again in 2000, the Federal Emergency Management Agency honored Tulsa as leading the nation in floodplain management. On average, May is the wettest month, averaging 5.9 inches of rainfall. Triple-digit temperatures are observed on average 11 days per year, sometimes exceeding 105 degrees Fahrenheit from July to early September, usually accompanied by high humidity brought in by southerly winds. The highest recorded temperature recorded was 115 degrees Fahrenheit on August 10, 1936. Lack of air circulation due to heat and humidity during the summer months leads to higher concentrations of ozone, prompting the city to release ozone alerts, encouraging all parties to do their part in complying with the Clean Air Act and United States Environmental Protection Agency standards. The autumn season is usually short, consisting of pleasant, sunny days followed by cool nights. Winter temperatures, while generally mild, dip to 10 degrees Fahrenheit on 3.3 nights, and occasionally into the sub-0 degrees Fahrenheit range. The most recent such occurrence being a -2 degrees Fahrenheit reading on January 6, 2014. Seasonal snowfall averages 9.6 inches, and, as of 2014 update, only 9 winters on record have officially recorded a trace or no snow, the most recent being 1910-11. The lowest recorded temperature was -16 degrees Fahrenheit on January 22, 1930. Demographics. According to the 2010 census, Tulsa had a population of 391,906 and the racial and ethnic composition was as follows: White American, 62.6%, African American, 15.6%, Hispanic or Latino, 14.1%, some other race, 8.0%, two or more races, 5.9%, Native American, 5.3%, Asian American, 2.3%, Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander, 0.1%. As of the 2010 census, there were 391,906 people, 163,975 households, and 95,246 families residing in the city, with a population density of 1,991.9 inhabitants per square mile. There were 185,127 housing units at an average density of 982.3 per square mile. Of 163,975 households, 27% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 38.2% were married couples living together, 14.6% had a female householder with no husband present, and 41.9% were non-families. Of all households, 34.5% are made up of only one person, and 10% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.34 people and the average family size was 3.04. In the city proper, the age distribution was 24.8% of the population under the age of 18, 10.9% from 18 to 24, 29.9% from 25 to 44. 21.5% from 45 to 64, and 12.9% who were 65 years of age or older, while the median age was 34 years. For every 100 females there were 93.5 males, while for every 100 females over the age of 17 there were 90.4 males. In 2011, the median income for a household in the city was $40,268 and the median income for a family was $51,977. The per capita income for the city was $26,727. About 19.4% of the population were below the poverty line. Of the city's population over the age of 25, 29.8% holds a bachelor's degree or higher, and 86.5% have a high school diploma or equivalent. Metropolitan area: the Tulsa metropolitan area, or the region immediately surrounding Tulsa with strong social and economic ties to the city, occupies a large portion of the state's northeastern quadrant. It is informally known as Green Country, a name derived from the state's official tourism designation for all of northeastern Oklahoma, though its usage in relation to the Tulsa metropolitan area can be traced to the early part of the 20th century. The Census Bureau defines the sphere of the city's influence as the Tulsa Metropolitan Statistical Area, spanning 7 counties: Tulsa, Rogers, Osage, Wagoner, Okmulgee, Pawnee, and Creek. The 2013 U.S. Census estimate shows the Tulsa MSA to have 961,561 residents in 2013. U.S. Census estimates show the Tulsa-Muskogee-Bartlesville CMSA to have 1,131,458 residents.